Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Oxcord podcast presented by Boot Crew Media and sponsored by Maker's Mark. I am your host, Cruz Oxenrider, as always joined by the co-host, Nick Perkins. The intern, Bon Snow, is back from doing grad school shit. Congratulations, bud. And Wyatt, the intern, back in the cave where he belongs. Just kidding, Wyatt. We love you. Guys, week 3 college football done. Week 2 NFL done. I'm in New Orleans right now. I'm still recovering from a very long weekend of gambling and football, and my body hates me.
Well, where do you want to start with that, or you want to come back to that? Do you want to build it up?
I think I need to go ahead and get it off my chest because I've been holding it in for the last 24 hours now, and I'm ready to rant. I am ready to go off. But we had some great games in college football and in NFL this week. It definitely was not the case. Last week was flat out amazing in both. This one a little bit more relaxing, laid back. But I think we should start with the giant elephant in the room. The Atlanta Falcons almost came back from 28-3.
I know. I think that would have broken the curse. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons realistically should be 2-0 right now. Isn't that crazy to think?
Yes, it actually is.
And I mean, that's the only thing that's kind of giving me life with this team right now is we're not horrible. This is not a horrible football.
You're not a bad team. Yeah. You're actually a pretty decent team. From the eye test standpoint, I was impressed, dude. 17 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, just never give up. I still, it's weird. It's like whenever the game is on the line, we go super conservative on play calling for some reason. And defense too. I don't know why we go away from things that are working. I'm in the mindset of I feel like teams should definitely prove that they can stop what you're doing before you change. But I don't know. Atlanta coaching staff just likes to go away from things that are working. I don't get that. But obviously I'm not getting paid $1 million a year to coach a football game. So
yeah, it was I caught the tail end of it. I'm not gonna lie, man. I was actually pretty impressed. The fact that they came out Mariota again, just 2 weeks in a row. I thought he's looked decent.
I feel like he's done well enough to win. He's done what we've needed him to do. Just kind of some unlucky things. I think a lot of it kind of goes back to coaching. So I got no issues with the Falcons right now. I mean, we're 0-2. But I fully expected us to be 0-2 at this point in the year. But I mean, there's some positive things to take away from this year so far.
Would you say that you're the best 0-2 team in football over the Bengals?
No, well, see, I think the Bengals are a better team than what they're playing right now. But man, they were looking bad.
What about the Chargers? They're 0-2.
I think the Chargers are probably better than the Falcons too.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. The Chargers aren't 0-2. I meant the Raiders. I'm sorry, the Raiders.
I think we're kind of actually on par with the Raiders, to be honest with you. Yeah.
As
long as their wide receivers aren't killing people, I think we're good.
Bro, low blow.
No.
Very low blow. But I will say this. So there are two things I take away from the Falcons-Rams game. Actually, 3. 1, Drake London looks legit. Yeah. 8 catches, 86 yards, a touchdown. He looks good. He looks good. He looks like he's playing to his draft pick. The other thing that really sticks out to me, dude, are you guys going to throw Kyle Pitts the football?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, I will say there's a lot of coverages I've watched. We try to get him involved. He's not really necessarily fast enough to get the ball on screens. I don't think he has the burst speed.
Kyle
but
Pitts
we can't.
Is fast, dude.
He is, but he's not okay, Jalen Waddle, fast, and he's got great top end speed, but he has really good burst speed too. He can go 0 to 100 really, really fast. I feel like Kyle Pitts is more like Derrick Henry speed, where he's that's a big dude. There's no way he should be running that fast, but it takes him a little bit more to get there. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's a big bodied receiver. Drake London is one of those big body receivers as well, and we've been able to get him the ball. In tight coverages and in open field. So I don't know.
He had Jalen Ramsey on him. So it's not like he's going to with scrubs, but I mean, Kyle Pitts had 3. He got looked at 3 times yesterday and only caught 2 passes for 19 yards.
Yeah. God bless fantasy owners on that one. Because I fully expected this to be his breakout year.
I was this close to taking him in fantasy, and I took TJ Hawkinson instead. Thank God. And then the other thing I look away from, dude, the Rams look like they're having a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. Like they should have run away with this game. It was 28-3. I mean, Cooper Kupp doing Cooper Kupp things, 11 catches, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Matt Stafford is just like, he looks off a little bit. I mean, those 2 really bad interceptions. I think they were just like, I don't know what was happening, but the defense is legit still. Aaron Donald is the best football player in the world. Yeah. As far as on the defensive side of the ball, Jalen Ramsey is still a beast. He's not as consistent as he should be, but he's still pretty damn good. And then I'm looking at it, man, like
Super Bowl teams combined 1-3 to start the year. I mean, I would have never guessed that after last year.
I mean, I think honestly the Rams can get got. Like they can be beaten. I think they have some very big flaws. But I mean, it's only week 2, so obviously overreacting. But yeah, that's what I took away from it.
Yeah, no, I mean the Rams definitely look beatable. I mean, to me so far, and honestly, the other team that kind of looks beatable to me is Kansas City. Like that team fully, I feel like is missing Tyreek Hill. I mean, and obviously we see in the Dolphins game, which we can talk about later, but
yeah,
because that was definitely game of the year, probably candidate. But yeah, Kansas City without Tyreek Hill is a different team. It sucks because like obviously Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He needs like that guy. He's still got Kelsey, and obviously he still has some guys that are burners on that team. But I think they're definitely beatable. So it's kind of almost like a changing of the guard right now. The teams that have been really, really good in the last 4 or 5 years, the Rams, the Chiefs, obviously Buffalo is still going to be really, really good. But I feel like some of the top teams are regressing a little bit this year.
See, I don't think Kansas City's going anywhere. I think Kansas City's still legit. I think now they're moving into this offense where it's not so Tyreek Hill heavy, where he's relied on. Granted, he's fantastic. I mean, look what he's doing in Miami. But Kelsey's still a monster. Juju Smith-Schuster looks good. Watson looks good. Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks good. Like they're winning games. The defensive line looks good. Chris Jones is a freak. I think it's going to be later on in the season where it's like, okay, like Tyreek Hill is being very missed in Kansas City, but right now you would never know. Patrick Mahomes has 7 touchdown passes in 2 weeks. I mean,
Patrick Mahomes is going to ball out regardless. I'm just saying that the indestructible nature that was Kansas City, maybe like 2 years in the last 2-3 years, I feel like cracks are starting to show. And I mean, you got, a Juju Smith injury or a Travis Kelce injury away from that, that's where I feel like the cracks will really show is if, this team starts having injury issues. And obviously, thankfully, Patrick Mahomes has never had an issue like that. But when you lose any one of those guys, I mean, and this is not as great of a team, because I don't think they can just necessarily run the ball down your throat with Clyde. I think he's a really good player, but I think he's a complimentary because everybody has to respect Patrick Mahomes.
No, I agree. I mean, I think they've made 4 straight AFC championship games. And I think that is right now they look like they're on pace. It looks like we're looking at Kansas City, Buffalo right now, but I think it's still early. The other game I want to talk about before we get into my game, I want to talk about Baltimore, Miami, because this game was
game of the year.
Game of the year of week 2. The story of the game, Tua 469 passing yards and 6 touchdowns. And people are still finding a way to say Tua is not a good quarterback.
Yeah, they're saying 2 picks, and the 2 picks that he had were not great. But my thing is like if Patrick Mahomes goes out there and throws for that, whatever 400 plus 6 touchdowns, it's plastered all over ESPN the next day. You can it's all the analysts are talking about. Their graphics are being thrown out on every social media, and like nobody's talking about it. Like.
It's bad.
It might get a mention just because it was a 28-point comeback. But other than that, like, there's no talk. I think that's ridiculous.
I mean, 28 points in the fourth quarter. Insane. 36 of 50, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns. Yes, he did have 2 interceptions. One was one hell of a play. I will give him that. Like, that was a great interception. The other one was kind of bad. Tyreek Hill, though, 11 catches, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. He could not be covered.
Saved my fantasy week.
I don't understand how you let the fastest man in the NFL and then the second fastest man in the NFL in Jalen Waddle keep getting open. Like, guys, try something a little different. They run fast and they're going to run straight and they're going to catch the ball. And Tua is very accurate. And like that whole notion of like Tua not being a good down the field thrower is laughable because he's putting those like right on the money. People are like, oh, he underthrew Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill used to make Patrick Mahomes underthrow the ball.
Right. He's so fast that every quarterback is going to underthrow. Yeah, you can't. There's no amount of practice because he's probably running half speed in practice. He gets out there on the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy speed.
He's insanely fast. And so is Jalen Waddle. But like, if you look at the RPOs and you look at the short intermediate routes and everything Tua's doing, Tua's putting it right on the money. I mean, that last touchdown to win the game was a dot to Jalen Waddle. That wasn't like a 50-yard bomb or a lob. Like he just strike laser down the middle in the end zone. That was a fantastic showing. I'm happy for him because I know this offseason, all he did was just get shit from the media, his ex-coach. People were wanting to bring Deshaun Watson in. Someone, even Sean Payton went on record last week saying that Teddy Bridgewater was going to come in for Tua sometime this season.
Yeah.
Not barring injury. Like that's very insulting. Like don't get me wrong. I love Teddy, but that's a huge insult. Like I can think of 10 teams off the top of my head right now in the NFL that would take Tua in a heartbeat the moment he became a free agent. Like New Orleans, I think if Miami does not re-sign Tua, New Orleans should 1,000% go after him.
Yeah.
Because he would thrive in this offense.
Can't imagine a situation where Tua wants to leave that situation now.
Well, I mean, if he's finally got a coach that wants him, he's in a good, he's a proven leader. He's a captain. He's a good guy on and off the field. Like so I was so happy for him yesterday because I feel like he shut a lot of people up. Mm-hmm. But then you got guys like Colin Cowherd who are discrediting what he's doing. But I guarantee you, if Justin Herbert would have had this kind of game, he would be like, we wouldn't hear the end of it.
Oh no. Yeah. There are guys and I love Josh Allen, but like if he goes out there and does this, I feel like it doesn't get the kind of hype that like if Herbert did it or Patrick Mahomes did it or God forbid Tom Brady at 45 years of age does this in a game. I mean, we would never hear the end of it. So there are certain guys that I feel like the media definitely loves more than the others. And for one reason or another, maybe it's like a money situation or whatever. I don't know. But I mean, there are guys out there that, you know, they are never going to get the respect that some of those other guys will. Like, I fully believe, and it's not just because of like the one game bias. I fully believe Tua is better than Justin Herbert. And I'll say that and I'll get absolutely killed in the comment section for that.
But I mean,
I fully believe that.
Yeah. But it's true. I mean, like I don't get me wrong. I think Justin Herbert's good. I
think he's good too. I don't buy the hype. I don't
either. I don't buy the hype either. I think it's a little bit blown out of proportion. I think he's good, but yeah, he hasn't made the playoffs. He was relying on a tie last year with the Raiders to get into the playoffs. So
Bon, I'm curious, like from a third party perspective, like Aaron Rodgers retires this year, and let's just say in some fantasy world, you have the choice between Tua and Herbert. Like, who are you going with? I don't know if Bon can hear me. Bon, maybe not. Okay. Can you hear me?
Whatever. Bon.
I think we lost Bon. Well, I mean, okay, so same question to you, Jameis. Obviously, let's take this last week off, though. Let's take the last week, and let's not think about that absolutely atrocious performance.
Thanks.
Would you take Herbert over Tua?
Wait. Would I take Herbert over Tua?
Yeah.
On what team?
On New Orleans, like in a perfect scenario, Jameis leaves.
I would take either or. But if I have to put my money on it in the system right now with who we have, I would go Tua.
Yeah,
I think Tua in Pete Carmichael's offense, which we'll get into that in a minute. But I think with our receivers that we have, they're more timing. Like a Jarvis Landry, timing guy. Michael Thomas, timing guy. Chris Olave is your big deep threat.
Mm-hmm.
but I think a lot in the Alvin Kamara checkdowns, like I think that would be so much fun to watch. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would take either or.
Yeah.
And I actually am about to get into our game, and there's a guy I want to go after in free agency or in the draft, and I'm in a realistic one as well. So yeah, man, I'm really happy for Tua is all I can say. I'm happy for Tua. I'm also happy for Mac Jones. Well, I don't really want to touch on that game, but dude, Mac Jones, good for you, bro. Shut up all the haters. Threw a freaking bomb, Mac bomb, OG Mac bomb, to win the game. An OG Mac bomb. I'm so happy for him. All right, let's get into my game. The Saints finally lose a regular season game to the Tampa Bay Bucks, and they did it in dramatic fashion. 20-10, man. Look, I was there. Everyone knows I was there yesterday. It was electric at kickoff. It was loud. It was rowdy. I hate, and I say this, like, there are not a lot of people in this world that I hate. I hate Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans.
Really?
They are awful human beings who, honestly, I hope all their flights got delayed. I hope all their cars got flat tires. I hope that they got overcharged at the hotel for drinking the mini bar. Like, I hope they had a terrible experience here. They're bad people. They're bad fans. All right, that was my little bit of a rant. Okay, actual game. I took 3 things away from this game, Nick. One, Tampa Bay and New Orleans have really, really good defenses. Mm-hmm. Like, I would say 2 out of the top 5 defenses in the league. You can make the case for top 3.
Yeah,
they are fantastic. I know there were some injuries yesterday. Alvin Kamara didn't play. Chris Godwin didn't play. Julio didn't play. I know there were a few, but man, these guys, like, whew. Devin White he's a menace. He's a pest, but God, he's good. Demario Davis is a freak. Marshawn Lattimore is a top corner in the NFL, and I don't care what you say.
Well, when he's not getting kicked out of games, yeah,
when he's not getting kicked out of games or cheap shotted, but he held Mike Evans the 1 catch for 7 yards.
Yeah,
he owns Mike Evans, and he historically has. Number 2, either Jameis Winston is really hurt, like actually hurt, or we as a fan base have grossly overestimated him, because he made some very bad decisions yesterday. He was gun shy. He should have ran about 5 different times. I mean, he had a clean pocket a lot of the day. I mean, he overshot Chris Olave. I mean, there were just some bad reads and bad plays from Jameis after having such a fantastic fourth quarter last week, and I was hoping they would build off of it. And I was very disappointed. Like, 14 points win this game for the Saints. 14. Jameis throws a terrible pick 6, and then that kind of busted the game open. But the Bucs offense only had 1 touchdown all game. So yeah. Brady had that beautiful dot in the back of the corner.
Which like that's a throw probably only Tom Brady can make.
That was a beautiful pass. That was a rainbow. It was beautiful.
Granted, he probably should have never been in that spot to begin with, but
no, he should have. But because Marshawn Lattimore had already been kicked out of the game. We'll get on that in a minute. And then number 3, the NFL has a serious officiating problem.
Yes.
Like, not just for the Saints, but for the Bucs too. That was a terribly officiated game on both sides of the ball. I don't want to be like the typical Saints fans and be like, the refs screwed us. If you watch that football game, it was horrible. Mm-hmm. Horribly officiated on both sides of the ball. There was a phantom unnecessary roughness penalty for both teams. Holding and pass interferences multiple times. A Buccaneers player literally punched Michael Thomas and didn't get a flag for it. And then I think maybe the biggest coward in the NFL is Mike Evans. He is the definition of a fake tough guy. So you've seen it by now. It was probably the most talked about thing yesterday was Tom Brady's getting frustrated. We make the We make the Bucks go 3-and-out again. Tied game 3-3. And Tom Brady doesn't like a call. Bruce Arians, the former Buccaneers coach, who for whatever reason was on the Bucs sideline yesterday. I didn't realize he was still working and coaching on the team for some reason, is chirping Marshawn Lattimore. He says something he doesn't like. Then Tom Brady says something Marshawn Lattimore doesn't like. Marshawn Lattimore Marshawn Lattimore does not put up with anyone's shit.
He plays with a lot of emotion. I think
he does, but he backs it up though. He is right.
No, he does. But if you get under his skin, he'll react to things. That's for sure.
I mean, if you remember last week, he had an unsportsmanlike penalty on literally the last play of the game that gave the Falcons a shot at a field goal. And so I don't know what Brady said. I'm assuming it was shut the F up or whatever. And then I'll give him this. Leonard Fournette just gives him a shove. Marshawn Lattimore shoves back. And then out of nowhere, you just see Mike Evans full on sprint and sucker hit Marshawn Lattimore. Huge brawl ensues. It was a madhouse, dude. People were losing their minds in the Superdome. And then Mike Evans has the audacity to say that he saw Tom Brady or he saw a teammate get punched. His teammate was the one who punched the guy.
Yeah.
And he's going to come in and try and defend what he did. He got suspended officially for one game. I thought it was laughable because this is not his first offense. He has done this before. He is a cheap shot artist when it comes to Marshawn Lattimore because historically, Mike Evans is owned by Marshawn Lattimore.
Well, I mean, this isn't even the first time that he's done this where he comes out of nowhere. He's not even really super involved in what's happening. No. Comes out of nowhere and just decleats somebody. I mean, this is what that happened, 2, 3, 4 years ago?
2017, yeah.
Yeah. And he got, suspended for that too, which, if I remember right, he only got suspended one game for that. I don't know. There needs to be a progression system where if you show repeated offenses, if you, I don't know, target or if you whatever in consecutive weeks or you show a pattern of that, you got to start getting punished more because some of these guys, they don't care. They'll go out there and just take the 1 game suspension and just get paid for it. Who cares? Because
that was a massive brawl. Someone legitly could have got hurt.
Could you imagine if Tom Brady shattered his leg or something, someone fell on Tom and he got season-ending injury because of that? How lame that would have been.
I mean, could you imagine? Okay, look at it for this example, Marshawn Lattimore. What if Mike Evans hurts him seriously? What if he breaks his arm or his gives him a concussion? What if he actually does that? Yep. And then not only did you take out one of the Saints' best players, you hurt him out for multiple weeks. So then what are you doing? But again, I think he's a coward. I think Mike Evans is a coward. Look, dude, I get it. Everyone has a bad day. Everyone has a bad game. But that was so Bush League. That wasn't even funny. So then after the Saints are down, who already out one of their corners because Paulson Adebo, their cornerback too, is out. Marshawn Lattimore is now out. So now we're out our top 2 corners against Tom Brady. Yeah. And then that's kind of when the floodgates kind of open. Jameis Winston throws back-to-back bad interceptions. And it was rough, man. It was very underwhelming. Jameis finished with 236 yards. Bright spot is Michael Thomas looks good. Chris Olave, the rookie, looks good. Mark Ingram had a crucial fumble as the Saints are driving in the red zone. Alvin Kamara didn't play. I feel like that was a huge deciding factor as well. The season's still very early. It's just very disappointing. But my worry is that which Jameis am I going to get on a weekly basis now? Am I going to get the fourth quarter Atlanta Falcons Jameis, or am I going to get that?
Yeah, it's so polar opposite.
Good.
Yeah,
because this team is too good.
Yeah.
To Nick, this defense is fantastic.
Good enough to win a Super Bowl.
It is good enough to win a Super Bowl. The wide receivers around you are good enough to win a Super Bowl. The running game, good enough to win a Super Bowl. I don't think Jameis Winston's good enough to win a Super Bowl for this team. And that terrifies me.
Not with 4 cracked vertebrae. Why was he even playing with that?
I don't know. We have Andy Dalton. We have a very good backup.
Yeah.
Andy, I right
you sure
now.
You don't want to re-sign Ian Book and get out there?
No, I will never be that desperate again. So I was looking at free agents because it's a Monday. It's Monday. We're going to overreact. Lamar Jackson's a free agent after this year. I say you go sign Lamar Jackson the moment he wants to leave out of Baltimore. You go get Lamar Jackson. That is because you don't have a first round draft pick now, unless we trade the rights to Sean Payton. And even if we wanted to tank for Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, the Eagles own our pick. So we're kind of SOL there. And this quarterback class is fantastic. There's some really good guys in it. But man, I don't think I can do a full season of that, Nick. That was rough. That was like watching paint dry.
I don't know. Did it get to the point as, the Saints I've been absolutely murdered as a Falcons fan. I don't really even feel anything anymore when I watch those games, but you've actually had some hope this year. Yeah. How many more of those games do you think you have to see before they make the switch at quarterback?
I would say
like one more. I mean, no, I don't even know.
So Saints have Carolina coming up this week at Carolina. If we lose the Baker Mayfield, I think that's when you got to start asking questions. Then we're going to London to play the Vikings. Vikings look legit. Then you have a game with the Seahawks, and then the Bengals come to town. I think if the Saints start under 500 after week 6, I think that's when you're gonna need to start questioning things.
You play the Vikings in London. That's the game in London.
In London, yeah.
That's a tough game, man. Because we're gonna find a lot about the Vikings, obviously tonight on Monday Night Football. But yeah, that team, man, Justin Jefferson looks like the best player in the NFL right now.
Well, I would like that matchup to watch Marshawn Lattimore versus Justin Jefferson because they played before and Marshawn got the better of them. But Justin Jefferson's legit. I mean, he's fantastic. What's funny? Adam Thielen has really had really good success against Marshawn. So that would be another fun matchup to watch. But yeah, man, the Saints team, man, it was frustrating. I was so pleased with the defense because they're just all over the place. Like the linebacker, Pete Warner out of Ohio State, he looked fantastic. Defensive line looked good. Corners look good. And it's just like this team is so talented, Nick. Like they can legit make a Super Bowl run if the quarterback plays consistent. And after watching that performance at home in front of your home crowd who was roaring and rocking all day, and to put up that kind of performance, I really just hope it was the injury. I just hope it was the injury.
Has there anything come out about like if this is a long-term thing?
I don't know.
I don't know how. I've never heard that in like the. I'm surprised he even played, to be honest with you. But the other side of it is like we made all this fun about Marcus Mariota over the offseason, but yeah. I mean, other than the fourth quarter in the Falcon week 1, Jameis has been very, very, very bad. Like very bad.
Very mid.
I would not even say mid. He cost y'all that game yesterday.
He really did. Well,
and he almost cost you week 1
too. 5 turnovers. I mean, Mark Ingram fumbled in the red zone. We just couldn't get anything consistent going. But honestly, that's more on Tampa Bay's defense being good. That's why, I want to look for this week if these offensive struggles keep continuing. Because all right, look, game 1, I'll give you that. You're still figuring things out against Atlanta. Atlanta looks like they have a legit pass rush. And then your second game is against the Bucs, who I would say has a top 3 defense in the NFL. If they come out flat against Carolina, who has now lost to the Browns and has now lost to the Giants, then you got to start asking questions. Like a Browns team that just lost to the Jets.
That was electric too, Joe Flacco. Oh man, that game was awesome.
Dude.
But Browns, yeah, to go back to it, yeah. And if you start 1-2 with losses to Carolina and Tampa Bay, now obviously those, Tampa Bay is a good team. They're going to make the playoffs this year. There's no doubt. So I don't know if you need to put that much heavy on it, but where are you on the panic meter as a fan? Are you let's say 1 to 5, 3 being a little bit worried, 4 is I'm questioning things, 5 is I'm hitting the nuclear button.
No, if we lose to Carolina, I'm an 8. We lose to
Out of
Minnesota.
5.
Yeah. Like honestly, like I'm an 8. We lose to the Vikings. I'm a full out 10. We lose to the Seahawks. I'm done. I'm done for the year.
Yeah.
I mean that's just rough.
You get the Seahawks at home though. That should be a win. They're not great.
I mean, they beat the Broncos.
The Broncos aren't good either. That's a whole other topic. I mean, Russell Wilson's been bad this year.
All right, so I've ranted about my team enough. Let's talk about Bon and Wyatt's team. Green Bay Packers, who are historically owned by oh my gosh, dude. Aaron Rodgers against the Chicago Bears is just,
he didn't even really play that good, I don't think. Like, he had a pick and, had a couple touchdowns, obviously. But, I mean, that running game, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, that is going to be the reason that they're going to, 10, 11, 12 games this year. That offensive line and those two guys are legit, man. And like, who needs wide receivers when you can just run the ball for 250 yards a game? And I don't know.
Aaron Jones had 132 yards, man. I mean,
right.
on 15 carries. I mean, you average almost 9 yards a carry. Like that's pretty great. Aaron Rodgers, 19 and 25, 234 yards and two touchdowns. Had a QBR of 61. And then I will say this, man. I feel bad for Justin Fields. I feel terrible for Justin. I do. I feel so bad for Justin Fields.
Why?
Because, dude, Justin Fields is a fantastic talent. He is. I think he is athletically. He can be as good as anyone out there in the league. He will not succeed in the Chicago offense. He will not. No. He will not succeed with this team. 7 of 11 passing. Your quarterback is 7 of 11. You attempt 11 passes for 70 yards. I mean, dude, come on. He had a QBR, Nick, of 6.
Yeah.
6.7. I feel bad.
Did you see his comments today about how like the fans? You can't say that, man. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something like, whatever the fans are feeling right now, the team is feeling worse. Like you don't know what it's like, kind of thing. Which is true, but you can't say that. Like there's no way.
It's not the Bears fans, dude. Chicago sports fans are fanatics. But like, dude, listen to the people that caught passes yesterday for the Bears. Darnell Mooney, 1 catch, -4 yards. Cole Kent, 0 catches, 1 attempt. Khalil Herbert, you know who Khalil Herbert is?
I don't.
Nope. 1 catch, 3 yards. David Montgomery, 2 catches, 14 yards. Ryan Griffin, 1 catch, 18 yards. You know who Ryan Griffin is?
I think he was my chauffeur at a dinner party the other day.
Yeah, he was the Saints' 4th or 5th string tight end in 2018.
Oh no!
And then St. Brown had 2 catches, 39 yards. I mean, dude,
that's
Sammy Watkins,
is that the brother of
the best receiver on this team?
Is that the brother of that St. Brown from Detroit that balled out? Okay, yeah, those brothers.
They're fantastic. So, and then look at and then you look on the other side of things, like Sammy Watkins, 3 catches, 93 yards. Randall Cobb, 3. How is Randall Cobb still playing? God, I feel old.
Someone told me he was 32, and I was like, that's impossible. He's got to be at least 40.
He was a rookie. His rookie year was 2011. So he's been in the league.
He's been around so long.
Yeah, I know, right? Randall Cobb, 3 catches, 37 yards. Romeo Dobbs, 2 catches, 27 yards. Alan Lazard. I mean,
if Devontae Adams is still in this Green Bay team, I mean, they're Super Bowl favorites because I think their running game, and then if they have one receiver, that's worth a damn. But.
Then David Montgomery, man, 15 carries, 122 yards. Justin Fields, man, 8 carries, 20 yards, had a touchdown. Got 1 called back, which I thought was an absolutely terrible call because that makes it a game. And then, I don't know, man, Green Bay just kind of ran away with it. Green Bay, that second quarter, I mean, just going off for 21 points. It's like, okay, like Aaron Rodgers is really good at football.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody that thought he was going to have a hangover game, there's
not against the Bears. Not anybody else but the Chicago Bears. Bon, what did you think?
I don't think Bon can hear us. I think he's having some internet issues. I think he's having some internet issues.
Hey,
Wyatt, come out of the cave and talk about your team.
Yeah, kick Bon out.
kick Bon to the cave.
Yeah, kick Bon to the cave.
I thoroughly enjoyed this matchup against the Chicago Bears. It's always nice. You ever need a get right game, just play Chicago.
No kidding. Especially this Chicago team. Their defense isn't even as good as they have been in the last couple of years.
They're really not. I mean, your best pass rusher is the ghost of Robert Quinn, which he still got a couple good ones last night, and Eddie Jackson, who I love Eddie Jackson, but he has not been the same the past couple years.
Well, he's the only one on that defense, man. I mean, it's like a one-man show out there. He had a half decent game actually. And man, like if he had some pieces around him, like what was it 2 or 3 years ago when Chicago had Khalil Mack, and it was like Eddie Jackson had like defensive player of the year performance, like something
Roquan
like it was,
Smith. I mean,
he's
like Roquan
crazy
Smith
good,
great.
But he can't
Roquan
do it
Smith,
by himself.
Robert Quinn.
Roquan Smith did not have a good game last night.
No, he did not. I mean, he had 10 tackles, but I mean, like he could not stop Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon.
Chicago didn't have a good game last night.
Dude, the Bears aren't a good football team.
They're not.
They're not. The only reason they won last week is because it was a monsoon. That was the only reason they beat the Niners last week, which, by the way, we're not going to touch on this game, but dude, shout out to Trey Lance. I hope he gets better.
That's tough.
Horrible ankle injury.
Yeah.
That was rough to see. Okay, so Wyatt, like after seeing the Packers bounce back from a really rough week 1, how are you feeling about your team? 1 being, I hate this team. 10 being, we're going to the Super Bowl. Where are you feeling?
I feel like I'm at a solid 7 right now. It's
7?
Like
okay.
We showed a lot of promise. If we can continue to run the ball like we did, then it'd be a 10. But I doubt Aaron Jones will get 9 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns every week. And so I think a 7's solid. It'll really depend on how we look against Tampa this week, and if we can get David Bakhtiari back to solidify the left side of the line.
Okay, 7. I give you that. I'm really glad we don't play the Packers this year. I
know you got us last year, and that's it. You're going to hold that over me for the next
2 years.
4 years till we play again.
3 years.
3 years.
Unless we meet in the playoffs, which I would not want to see y'all in the playoffs.
Sorry,
all right,
buddy.
so all right, the other game I really want to talk about, and there's two more programs I want to talk about, and this one, it was more of like, you know what, good for them. And I don't know if you guys watched it. The Jacksonville Jaguars won a football game, and they didn't just win a football game; they dominated in the football game, 24-0 against the Indianapolis Colts. The last time Indianapolis has won a football game in Jacksonville was 2014. Like, I want you to think about that. As bad as the Jacksonville Jaguars have been over the last decade, they always get a win against the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I don't really understand that, because I mean, there's really nothing about that Jacksonville team I really like. I think Trevor Lawrence is overrated. I think the run game is like average. I mean, he had a fantastic game last.
He had a 95
obviously yesterday, right? And there was a time watching in the beginning of that game where he was like 14 for 15 for 2 touchdowns or something. Yeah. It was something like nuts like that. I don't see him playing like that the whole season, but yeah, I mean, like good for them, I guess.
Yeah.
Indianapolis, I don't know if you're hitting the panic button yet, if you're Indy, but they were Super Bowl favorites coming in. I mean, very much similar to the Saints in the sense that like Super Bowl favorites coming in, a lot of people liking them, a lot of hype in the offseason, and they're
the best running back in football, and you only give them the ball 9 times.
And an NFL MVP at quarterback now, like which you historically haven't had the last 4 or 5, 6 seasons. So
yeah, I mean, 16 of 30, 195 yards, 3 picks for Matt Ryan. He was sacked 5 times.
Chalk, dude. He's so chalk this year. Dude. I don't know what's going on with him.
It's bad, but dude, Trevor Lawrence, 25 of 30, 235, 2 touchdowns. Christian Kirk, 6 catches, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, dude, Jonathan Taylor, 9 carries, 54 yards. Really? Like, you're like the best running back in football, or one of the best running backs in football. You only give them the ball 9 times.
Well, they were playing from behind the 8 ball that whole game.
So you never got to establish. I know, but still, I mean, like, it was when you have a guy that good, Nick, he can run you back into the game.
That is true. Yeah. And he did. I mean, the second half of that game, he did bust off some, 15, 20-yard runs. But
yeah, he had a 21-yard run And then they just went away from it. So I don't understand it. That's all the time I'm going to give for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but good for them. They got their one win of the year. So one more and we'll be good. They're probably, they're going for the impossible, Nick. You know what they're doing?
They're going for 2 wins.
No, they're going through a three-peat, getting the number 1 pick in the draft 3 years in a row.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be electric. And then the last game I want to talk about, because it was the best ending, was Raiders Cardinals. That game, like,
can we just hold on? Just a point. And did you watch the 2-point conversion attempt by Kyler Murray?
That
was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that before in my life.
I know he's addicted to video games, but watching him play football is basically like watching Madden. It makes no sense.
It's like watching Michael Vick in that one Madden game that he was just unstoppable.
2004. Madden 04 was fantastic. But dude, a 16-point comeback in the fourth quarter by Arizona. And then the 2-point conversion was fantastic. And then Hunter Renfrow had not 1, but 2 fumbles on the last drive of the game. And then it picks up for a scoop and score to win the game. And then this actually recently came out today. There was a report that Kyler Murray got hit in the face by a fan celebrating with people in the crowd. I watched the video, and so it's hooked me a few times of watching it. But I think what had happened is that he was celebrating with some people. You see this guy like reach over to like hit him in the shoulder pads, and he whiffs and just whacks Kyler in the face. And
was it an Oakland guy or was it Arizona?
No, I think he was just like a fan. He was like in like one of the really cool like box suites on the floor. And then he runs up to somebody and they start celebrating. And then he's just like dapping people up in the crowd. And I think like this older guy went to go pat him. It looked like he was going to slap him on the shoulder pads because it was like an open face or open hand hit. And it pops him, and then Kyler comes out, turns around, and I think he's trying to get after the guy. So luckily his teammates were there and got it. But I think it was like a huge misunderstanding. Like I really do. I don't think it was.
I never saw that video, so you'll
need to send that to me. I'll send it to you. But like everything happened so fast. And yeah, everything happened so fast. I think it was just a huge misunderstanding. I really.
That'd be so funny if Kyler jumped in the stands and beat the shit out of that guy. That would be awesome. Bro, like Malice in the Palace, but like Kyler Murray, 5'4", 150 pounds, just beating the hell out of somebody. That'd be awesome.
Hey, toddlers don't know how to control their own strength, so he hit him pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then also, so if you're gonna hit a man in the face because you're pissed off about the end to a football game, you're not gonna do it with a closed hand. Like that's stupid. So I think that's also more cause to be like, yeah, okay, he probably didn't mean to do that, especially if it was an Arizona guy. Like, I can't imagine.
No, I mean, it looked like he wasn't like wearing any affiliation. It looked like he was just a guy in like a gray polo. And I think, like I said, like none of it looked intentional because like if you hit someone like that, if you're a fan, your immediately thought be like, I got to dip. I got to like run.
Yeah.
The guy is still like continuing to celebrate with him. So that's why, like, and then he's like, Kyler's trying to come in, and you just see the fear of God in this man now. And I know that's saying something because Kyler Murray's like 5'8", but like Kyler Murray's a stocky dude, and it would beat the hell out of this old man. So it was a good thing. It was like, I know like people are investigating it. I think it was just a huge accident. Like worst case, like just have the old guy apologize. I think it was a total misunderstanding. Because I think the last thing you would want to do as a normal human being would be want to fight a professional athlete.
Yeah, no.
Now it's not going to end well.
I guess if you were going to fight any professional athlete, it would be the 5'8" guy. But
no, it would be 100%. You fight the kicker.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're right. You
fight a kicker.
Fight Rodrigo Blankenship, that nerd. I freaking hate that guy. That dude has the most punchable face I've ever seen in my life.
Actually, there's a really good question. So, if you could fight any professional athlete, you get to pick who you want to fight. Who are you fighting?
Mike Tyson.
Who are you picking? You're picking Mike Tyson.
No, I would go. No, I like your pick of like an NFL kicker or like maybe like one of those like professional soccer players that's like a midfielder. It's like 5'6" but can run forever. But like one of like the smaller guys. So just to stick with football, I'd probably go with a kicker for sure.
All right, so my pick's going to be really unpopular, but I feel like I could win a fight against him.
Jameis
J.K.
Winston
Scott.
because he's blonde.
J.K. Scott.
Okay.
I'd pick
Yeah,
J.K. Scott.
that's
fair.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's
I feel
fair.
like if you kicked him in the leg, it would break both of his legs because
I
there's
mean,
like the sheer shock of it.
I mean, J.K. Scott's like 6'5", but like he's a twig.
Have you ever seen his leg? There's like no muscle. There's like, well, there's muscle on it, obviously, but there's no reason for him to be able to stand upright. I feel like a man, like, he would just crumble underneath his own weight because there's no muscle there.
Yeah.
No, it absolutely makes no sense how great his like kicking ability is. Where's he at now? Is he
he's playing somewhere.
Last I saw, he was with Jacksonville.
I think that actually might be right. He did punt like this because I remember seeing it. I was gonna send it to you guys. Like, oh look, J.K. Scott's still in the ball. I don't know where he's at.
He's with the Chargers.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
God, he is a goofy looking dude too, man. He is a goober
with the leg of a
goober.
Yeah, he's a goober.
He has the leg of a god, though.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was a fantastic week in NFL. Won a little bit of money bet on the games. Didn't win money betting on the Saints though. I took Saints money line, and I took Saints money line and Saints to cover the spread, and I used it using the DraftKings Sportsbook app. NFL action is in full swing here at DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We're talking touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins, but not if you're the New Orleans Saints, unfortunately. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win a game, win $200 in free bets instantly. If they do, download your DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code BOOT, that's BOOT, to get $200 in free bets if your team wins a game that you place a $5 bet on. That's promo code BOOT, BOOT, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sponsor of the Ox Cord podcast. Boom. I'm tired.
Yeah, if you listen to the show and you're not gambling already, there is nothing better than recovering from a hangover, sitting on a couch.
Yes.
I had a wedding on Saturday and had a little bit to drink, got home, had all of Sunday to just do whatever, recovered and just gambled and watched football all day. It's like one of life's most simple pleasures, but if you haven't experienced that yet, obviously don't gamble something that you bet on what you can afford to lose. But gambling on a Sunday after recovering from a hangover is one of the most amazing things in this life. I can fully guarantee that.
Yeah, I got none of that. So shut up.
Well, okay. Take back the Saints game. Man, let's just say the Saints don't play. You had a good weekend. I mean, New Orleans is always a good time.
New Orleans is a great time. I had something. I had a 12-leg parlay, Nick, and I posted this on social media.
Yeah,
I was 11 of 11 going into the last game. 11 of 11 in college football picks. It was the best week I've ever had. 11 of 11. And I had one last game, and it was my lock of the week, Nick. And I picked Michigan State over Washington, and Washington blew the doors off of Michigan State. That game was never close.
Yeah. Well, there were some times that I kind of looked, I was like, Michigan State might come back here. I mean, they're just, a couple stops away. I remember it being, I want to say it was a one-possession game with like 6-7 minutes left. And I was like, if they get a stop here, like they got momentum. But
and then they gave up a 50-yard touchdown.
One of the best quotes after that game was Mel Tucker after the game said, "I'm a horseshit head coach," which is just an all-time quote. I love that. I mean, that's a football guy right there. I love it.
I give him props though for owning up to it, but I mean, like it was a bad game. He's not a horseshit coach. Like Mel Tucker's a fantastic coach.
No, he's a top 10 coach in the country, I think. Yeah. And for him to say that, I think he puts a lot of that loss on his shoulders. But I still, that Michigan State bet, I still think, I mean, I would still take that bet. Like if they played again next week, same spread, I'm taking Michigan State because I don't think they'll ever play that bad ever again because that was a bad game for them.
They have Ohio State coming up, and they need to be on it. But listen to these games that I picked. I picked all money lines, by the way. I picked all money lines. South Alabama at UCLA. I picked UCLA. That game came down to a field goal. I was freaking out in the middle of a bar. But shout out to Mobile, Alabama, 251, going to the Rose Bowl and balling out. I picked Oklahoma over Nebraska. Notre Dame over Cal. That game got a little close for my comfort. Florida State over Louisville. Shout out to the Noles. They lost Jordan Travis for the game, but still found a way to win that game. Dude, Florida State is a good team this year, with it, and they're not getting any love in the AP poll. Makes no sense. But they got some big games coming up. I took Virginia against Old Dominion. That game came down to a last-second field goal. Scared the crap out of me. Florida beat USF. I'm not going to lie, USF, for a minute there, I thought was going to win that football game over the Gators. I had NC State over Texas Tech. NC State playoff hopes are still alive. Ole Miss over Georgia Tech. Ole Miss emasculated Georgia Tech. That game was a slaughtering. Wake Forest beats Liberty. That game got a little bit closer than I would have liked, but I had Texas over UTSA, and I had Georgia over South Carolina. So I went 11 of 11, Nick, in my parlay, and then the Michigan State game. So I went 11 for 12 for the weekend in college football. This game, it's pretty good.
No, if you're betting that now money line, that I should come out ahead on that one, but
I should have hedged out. I should have hedged.
Well, did you ever look at the cash out for that? Because I know it was like hard to win like 1,500. It was something crazy.
So if I would have got out before the Michigan State game, I would have walked away with 1,250. I would have won.
Oh no, dude.
I would have won 1,250 on a $100 bet. I would have won 12. I would have won 1,250. I should have taken it. I was just like, I was riding that high though.
At least it's not as bad as that one guy that had the $7.50 into $1 million. It was like 24 legs, and he cashed out at $200,000, and it ended up hitting. Like, God, I do not envy that man. That sucks.
Not at all. But yeah, so that was a tough one. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, it was so funny too, because like people, I was talking to people at the bar about it, and they were like, I told them, I was like, yeah, I'm 11-11 right now. And I got one more game left. They're like, what? I was like, yeah. And so like people were like standing around me. Then like after the bet didn't hit, I had some people buy drinks because they were like, that's rough. But let's get into college football. This week, not as nearly as many upsets. Which I mean, it was hard to the top week too. I mean, Appalachian State. You had Georgia Southern. You had who else? You had Marshall. Yeah, but we got to start with the number one team in the country, dude. Georgia is scary.
I think Georgia could beat an NFL team right now.
Georgia's terrifying, dude.
Yeah,
they're good. They're better than last year. And I know, and I said that too, and I got a lot of pushback from it. So I want to explain that. Georgia had arguably one of the greatest defenses in college football history last year. But their offense at times were very vanilla. They were just it was very pedestrian. I mean, but they were never playing to catch up. They always played with a lead. So it was just very boring. This year, their offense is fantastic. Dude, Stetson Bennett's a legit Heisman Trophy candidate right now. I'm not saying he's going to win it. I am not saying that whatsoever. I'm saying right now, he's probably going to crack a couple of top fives. I think so. He's off to a really good start in 3 weeks, but also Georgia's offense is so good now, and their defense is still good. Are they as good as last year? No, they're bending, but they're not breaking. Last year, they just didn't bend at all, unless it was the Alabama game. But right now, if you look at the two teams, I would take this version of Georgia because their offense is so much better and their defense is still as good, or as close to being as good as it can. This team is terrifying, Nick. They went into Columbia, South Carolina, and I know I was never high on South Carolina. You were.
I am. Yeah, I still am actually. Yeah,
but they gave up their first touchdown of the year finally in 3 games, and it didn't come until garbage time in the last minute. But dude, Stetson Bennett looked like Taysom Hill out there in some of his runs. I was giving him props, man. He can run. He's doing good. I called him Vanilla Vic earlier. Yeah, I called him Vanilla Vic in one of his runs. Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football. He would be an NFL starter right now. Like, draft Brock Bowers when the moment he's eligible to come. 5 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he mossed a kid. Yeah, Georgia's legit, dude.
So the spread on that game was 25 points. I took South Carolina plus 25. I thought they'd keep it close at home. So lost on that one. But I remember I was sitting, obviously, like I said, I had a wedding. So I was sitting in the room, and it was one of those situations where it was like out in the middle of nowhere. I had no service, and it was a little, probably like 28-inch TV that we were trying to watch this game on. And I just see this like white speck on the screen just going everywhere. And like, I mean, they were running tight end. I've never seen a tight end
Tight end reverse.
Yeah, tight end reverse. I've never seen that before in my life, and it worked. Like, they can run. They have the offense where they can run any. They could throw a dart at a playbook and hit something, and it'd probably go for 15 yards. Like, that's just what this offense is running right now. I would still, just because that defense last year, I think, is probably the best defense to ever play the game. And I would still probably take last year's Georgia team over this one, because I think there are some holes on this Georgia team that can be exploited. We haven't really seen this team get into a pinch yet. How are they going to respond? How is Stetson Bennett going to respond when they're down 10 with 10 minutes left in the game?
That's if they ever get down 10, Nick.
That is the thing, but they haven't. I mean, like, Oregon has not lived up to the hype, and then they played Samford.
Oregon just beat BYU.
They beat down BYU.
I know, but that game, they were not in that. They were never in that game, and I would say yes, it's probably because Georgia is that good, but we all know 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they get down 28 points in the second quarter, they kind of give up. They throw the towel in. I mean, no matter how much coaches want to say that they don't,
they do.
They do a little bit, right? So if that game is more competitive, I wouldn't see it being that much of a blowout. But I agree. It's going to be tough to get this team down in a hole, but it'll be just interesting to see how we respond. We know how Bryce Young and Alabama responds when they get into a pinch. We've already seen it. We know what their identity is. We don't know what Stetson Bennett and Georgia is when they get in a pinch. So it'll be interesting to see. They played Tennessee here in a couple of weeks. Florida, I know, has had a bad couple of weeks, but they're still a somewhat dangerous team, especially on a neutral site. I don't really see anybody else in the East really giving them a game, but there's still some good games for them.
So I'm looking at their schedule. They play Kent State next, then they go to Missouri, they get Auburn at home, they get Vandy at home, then they have a bye, and then they have their annual game in Jacksonville against Florida. Then you get Tennessee at home, at Mississippi State, at Kentucky, the second to last week of the season on November 19th. Right now, Kentucky is 8th. They're 8th in the country. They're undefeated. They look good. Kentucky looks legit. I think that Tennessee and Kentucky are probably their best bets, but Georgia will play 3 top 25 teams in 4 weeks at the end of October going into November. So they're going to get tested there. And then it's like, at that point, look, you're later on in the year, injuries happen. Anything can happen at that time of the year. But I mean, right now, Georgia just looks unstoppable. I think if you don't think they're the number one team in the country, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, I agree. And the consensus, and I think they actually got the unanimous number one vote,
as they should have.
Yeah, I think Bama and Ohio State each had 1 or 2.
I think Bama is second best team in the country, but right now, I know, but only like 3 weeks in, like it's Georgia and with like Bama, but let's talk about Bama. Let's talk about our team. Alabama.
We have the worst fan base ever.
Well, yeah, of course we do have the worst fan base.
I hate our fan base. I truly do.
By the way, people, like, please do not take what I say seriously on Twitter when it comes to Alabama football. Like, I've been doing this for years. You please realize that 95% of the things I say on Twitter it's sarcasm. Like, I do not know how much I had to respond to people, be like, dude, please tell me you're joking, right? So, like, you really think I would think this? No. I do it because it's funny, and I'm like, I'm being dramatic. I don't actually think that. I will say this though. I mean Bryce had 2 picks against Louisiana in a row, dude. That one was like hero ball, like rolling out of the pocket, doing some crazy stuff, throws it up, and the defender just comes down with it. I mean, I don't know. Bryce 2 picks.
Well,
but
do you think
that's
it's really cause for concern? I mean, how?
No, dude. I'm being dramatic. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
This isn't serious. It was Louisiana Monroe. Don't disrespect to Louisiana Monroe. You got paid your money to come get your ass kicked. No, I mean, like,
Terry Bowden looks like a fossil.
Did you see what their head coach said after?
What'd you say?
Did you see what their head coach said
Terry
after
Bowden?
the game or this morning?
No, what'd he say?
He said, "Thanks, Alabama. You just built us a weight room."
Yeah,
I mean that's exactly what that's exactly what it is. Did you see Terry Bowden's comments about Auburn? About how there's no head coach in the country that would come to Auburn if they fire Harsin before the end of the year. That was a crazy comment.
No, I didn't see that.
I think I saw a rumor that Arizona State would pursue Brian Harsin, which I think that's more fitting for Brian Harsin because he likes to hire really hot assistants, and Arizona State has very attractive women.
Dude,
so
loves the 18-year-old girls.
Loves I'm kidding. No, I mean, in all seriousness, and we'll get into Auburn in a minute, but like, Bama looked good. I mean, they are doing what they did. They scored 3 touchdowns. It was 21-0 6 minutes into the game. They on a touchdown on offense. Will Anderson had a pick 6 and then a blocked punt recovered by Malachi Moore. I mean, this game was 28-0 after the first quarter. It was just one of those games. I'm glad that they came out though and they didn't look flat. I mean, there were times they looked flat, but look, sometimes cupcake games now are not cupcake games. In some cases, look at Notre Dame and look at Texas A&M. Even though I do not for a second think App State is a cupcake team whatsoever. I think they are good. I think they're a top 25 team. We'll get on that in a minute. But Roydell Williams, 8 carries, 58 yards, the leading rusher. I love Jamar Gibbs. I love this guy. He is so good. And I know his numbers rushing don't reflect it, but he is so dangerous in the receiving game and the return game. 4 catches for 65 yards. He was the leading receiver, had a touchdown as well. I like what Trayshawn Holden is doing. I think he's getting more comfortable in this offense as a starter. I think he's going to start to come alive. I need to see a little bit more though from Jermaine Burton. Like all I heard about all offseason was how good Jermaine and Bryce are looking. And so I'm wondering if, what's going on there. I know we're getting some guys back from injury in a couple weeks for the Arkansas game. But I need to see a little bit more from the receivers. I know this game was just like, hey, like, no, let's just make sure no one gets hurt. I know that. So I'm not taking really anything with a grain of salt, except I want Will Anderson to win the Heisman, and I want him on offense.
Hey, the pick 6 made a big play for him. He's not my Heisman favorite anymore, though. Truly, I think there's another guy out there that is absolutely balling out, and I think they're going to give it to him just for the sake of it.
CJ Stroud,
Caleb Williams out of USC.
That's not a bad pick.
I don't
actually.
hate that.
Yeah, I don't.
Caleb Williams is balling out over there now. Obviously, he's got the transfer from Purdue that is like, I mean, first round talent right now. If he just sat out the rest of the year, he'd probably go top 15. But Caleb Williams, man, he's doing everything that Bryce did last year. Yeah. And to some extent, I mean, granted, he's probably playing to get a little bit of cupcake, but I mean, they're still. I mean, like you said, there's no cupcake games anymore, man. You still got to go out there and execute. And I think he's really, really, truly good. I would love Will Anderson to win the Heisman. I think the pick 6 goes a long way to stats, wise getting him there. But Caleb Williams to me is the best player in college football right now. He's
looking great. So I'll just do like a little speed rundown. Ohio State wins 77-21 against Toledo. Joke game. Michigan 59-0 over UConn. Another joke game. I think they played the easiest schedule in college football so far. I mean, good God, dude.
Michigan?
Like, really? Yes.
Yeah, their strength of schedule was like 131 out of 131. Like that's what they're doing.
Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn. Are you?
It's like the 3 worst teams in college football.
Bro, Vanderbilt hung 60 on Hawaii. Really? Yeah. We're going to talk about that. Which, by the way, Vandy, baby. Vandy.
Cashed it.
Cashed it already.
-2.5, dude.
Oh, my gosh.
Over 2.5.
Dude, I can't believe it already hit. I'm so happy for them. Good for them. I mean, they're going to get absolutely slaughtered this weekend, but still. Clemson 48-20. This game was 13-6 at halftime. So against Louisiana Tech. I want to talk about this game because I think Oklahoma is legit. Oklahoma goes to Lincoln, Nebraska. Nebraska scores in the first drive of the game on offense. And I'm like, oh my God, is this really going to happen?
No way.
And then Oklahoma was like, nah, we'll start trying now. 49-14. Dylan Gabriel, dude, shout out Brent Venables, man. Oklahoma looks really good on right now in the Big 12. I think they're a legit team that can win it. But I know there are some stud teams in the Big 12 too. USC wins 45-17 over Fresno. Caleb Williams, 25 of 37, 284, and 2 touchdowns. Oklahoma State takes care of business, 63-7. Kentucky, 31-0 over Youngstown State. This game was a freaking eyebrow raiser. Arkansas has to come back to beat Missouri State at home. And you're a top 10 team. Bro, what are you doing?
To be fair, who was the head coach of Missouri State?
Okay, I get it.
To be fair.
No, there is no to be fair.
Did you guys see all the fans in the stadium that had like the neck braces on? It was
the Walmart in Fayetteville sold out of neck braces.
So good.
But I mean, look, I think Arkansas almost got upset by Missouri State. That is a real statement that I just made.
Yeah.
I mean, they were trailing in the fourth quarter to Missouri State at home. That is real. Washington beats down Michigan State 39-28. BYU though gets embarrassed.
I lost my ass
by Oregon, dude. Yeah. Oregon, like what the hell? I thought they were dead in the water after that week 1 game against Georgia. And Alabama's favorite deadbeat dad, Bo Nix, actually had a pretty decent game.
That dude is like Jameis Winston to me. He's so
That's
polar.
A great comparison. That is
so polar. It's either he's amazing or he's the worst player in the game. It's crazy.
13 of 18, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, QBR of 90. They just dominated. Like BYU just couldn't get anything going. Like you blinked and it was 24-7 at half. And Oregon, man, good bounce back win. They're in the top 25 again.
Bo Nix is focused. He's having fun.
Dark horse to win the Heisman.
Dark horse to win the Heisman. Just kidding. No. Texas A&M beats Miami. This game was so boring. Boring.
I turned it off. It was
bad.
It was a bad game to watch.
It was. I'm not gonna lie, man. I thought Miami had all the chances in the world to win this game and couldn't get it done. I was very disappointed by Tyler Van Dyke, 21 of 41, 217 yards. I just thought
I would like an apology.
Yes. Okay. Look, everyone has a bad game. I still think he's a top quarterback in college football. He just had a bad game. Utah,
his receivers didn't help him either.
No, he got no help. Utah wins 35-7 over San Diego State. Tennessee 63-6 against Akron. My dark horse playoff pick, NC State, wins 27-14 against Texas Tech. Feeling good about that. Baylor 42-7 against Texas State. Another eyebrow raiser of a game. South Florida versus Florida. 31-28. That game,
it was closer than what that score really shows too.
I mean, honestly,
I watched the ending of that one. Yeah, it was.
You know what's crazy, man, is that we were ready to crown Anthony Richardson the next great one after week 1. I was all on board.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was with you.
Kid was fantastic against Utah. Made some big time plays. He's yet to throw a touchdown pass this year, guys.
Yeah, he has more tackles than he has touchdown passes.
Yeah, he has no touchdown passes. 10 of 18, 112 yards, 2 interceptions, had a QBR of 11. But he's running. He runs the ball well. But this team is so frustrating. I mean, I'm so confused because like you watch that game against Utah and you're like, wow, this is a legit team. This is a good team. And then Kentucky, they're a good team. I thought Florida gave that game away. They just played sloppy at the end. But, I mean, the USF, man, shout out to them. They played them tough. But this Florida team needs to wake the hell up. I mean, they got Tennessee coming up. And Tennessee might hang 50 on you if you keep playing like this.
They are going to hang 50 on them because that Tennessee offense is legit.
Yes.
Legit. And then Hooker, I love that. I hate Tennessee.
Hendon Hooker.
God, I hate them, but Hendon Hooker's legit.
He's legit. Yeah.
Yeah. Wake Forest survived Liberty 37-36. I was freaking out. Liberty had to go for a 2-point conversion, didn't get it. Ole Miss 42-0 against Georgia Tech. Texas, they bounced back after a crazy game with Alabama 41-20. This is a game I really want to talk about, though, guys.
I know, because I want to talk about it too. Let's talk
Penn
about it.
State goes to Jordan Hare and emasculates Auburn at home. I mean, my God.
I haven't seen Auburn lose a game like that in Jordan Hare in a long time. I mean, probably 2012 was when they went 3-9. I think was the last time it was a game like that.
Dude, this team is not good at all. This is not a good team. I watched this game. I watched this game, and I thought, at what point does Auburn take TJ Finley out of this game? Because good God, he is not a good quarterback. I thought Auburn didn't establish the run very well. Tank Bigsby only had 9 carries for 39 yards. I thought TJ Finley was trying to give the ball away. Robbie Ashford also was trying to give the ball away. They're the 2 QBRs of the day were 59 and 29. Like, it was just not good.
Disgusting.
It is not good, dude. The 119 yards rushing. I just thought this was a disgusting game to watch. So they had arguably probably the most lackluster big game moment. You have this huge marquee matchup and you just fall flat on your face. Penn State, man, just goes in 41 points on offense. Sean Clifford, granted, didn't score a passing touchdown, but he was efficient. Like, he just didn't give the ball away. Penn State's running back, Nicholas Singleton, was so good. 10 carries, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he ripped off that 54-yarder. Yeah, shout out to Penn State's looking good.
Penn State's a top 10 team. I think people
they're not. Whoa, top 10.
They're a top 10 team.
No,
they're
not.
They're the 3rd best team in the Big Ten.
That does not make them top 10.
Who would you put above them?
Right now,
let's do the Van Dyke. You know, right. you put me on a spot. Give me 10 teams that are better than Penn State right now.
Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma, USC, Oklahoma State, Kentucky.
No.
I would take Kentucky. I would 100% take Kentucky over Penn State.
No.
They did that to Florida, and they don't even have their RB1 yet. He comes back October 1st.
Yeah.
Who do you think? Okay, if Penn State plays Florida right now, you don't think that same thing happens?
I would take Arkansas. I would take.
They've got their team, though.
I would take
Arkansas.
Tennessee.
Nearly lost to Missouri State.
Did they win?
Well, I mean, what are we talking about? I don't think they're that good of a team. If you're having to come back win over Missouri State.
Fine. You can exclude Arkansas, Tennessee. I would take NC State.
Okay, that's fair.
I take NC State.
You're at 10 currently.
I would take Wake Forest. I would take Ole Miss. I take Texas. With healthy Texas, not current Texas.
Not current.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I think Penn State is good. I think they're top 15. They're not top 10.
They're a 10-2 team this year. Is Ole Miss going to be 10-2?
That's saying a lot. Yeah, actually, dude, Ole Miss is offense.
Ole Miss 10-2. Do you think NC State's going to be 10-2?
Yeah,
I mean, like all these teams that you're meant. I don't think Arkansas is going to be 10-2. I don't think Texas is going to be 10-2.
Okay, but they all have legitimate shots to go 10-2, though, Nick.
I would say Texas has a legitimate shot to go 10-2.
Okay, so they've lost 1 game already. So that means they can drop 1 more to Oklahoma, Baylor, or Oklahoma State.
Which I think they probably lose all 3 of those.
I think they split, actually. I think they'll split 1. But anyways, no, Penn State's good, Nick. I'm not saying like they're not a good team, but I don't think they're top 10.
I don't know, man. That defense. What's that?
Okay, so hold on. Let me give you a few teams, and you tell me if you would take Penn on a neutral field.
Okay.
On a neutral field, you would take this team. All right, out of the top 10. Georgia.
No.
Bama.
No.
Ohio State.
No.
Because they get to play Ohio State in a couple weeks.
They do, yeah.
So where
is that game? Is that
in
Penn State? It's at Penn State.
Okay, keep going.
So you're taking Ohio State?
I'm taking Ohio State on a neutral site. Yeah,
Michigan.
I don't even know what this Michigan team is yet. I mean, they've beat the brakes off high school teams, but as of right now, I'd take Michigan. I don't know what they are.
Clemson.
I would take absolutely Penn State over Clemson.
Oh, okay. Oklahoma.
Really even, but I'd take Oklahoma.
USC.
USC.
Oklahoma State.
I haven't watched a lot of Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State, I think they have a really,
Oklahoma
really good
State with
defense.
the 48 on this team.
Yeah, you're right. Oklahoma State's a good team. Yeah.
Kentucky.
I will go to I would take Penn State over Kentucky. I really would.
Okay.
I think their defense is better.
Texas A&M.
Oh, 100% Penn State.
Utah.
Penn State.
Tennessee.
That's a pick 'em. I'll go Tennessee though.
NC State.
I after that week 1, I am not big on NC State. I think they screw up down the line as well. I'd Penn State over NC State for me.
Ole Miss.
I mean, they struggled the first 2 weeks and then had a really, really good week 3, so they're trending upward. I love Lane Kiffin. I think they probably have the offense. Neutral site, it's a pick 'em. I'd actually probably go Penn State there. No kidding.
Okay.
I just don't like Jackson Dart, but that's the only reason.
I love Zach Evans, though. Zach
Evans is legit. He's legit. I like him a lot, too.
Yeah. Okay. So all right. So that's it for them. But yeah, honestly, like Penn State, man, shout out to them. The big game. I thought that game would actually be a little bit closer, and I thought they'd run away with a late, but it was never in doubt. I want to ask you guys this. Does Brian Harsin make it through the year?
Nah, I don't think so, man. I think that loss is so earth-shattering for that program and for that fan base that, man, if they, they're gonna have to shock and maybe get a win over like LSU or like, I know they historically.
You see what they did in Mississippi State?
They did. I mean, they had a cut. It was tight there for a little bit. Mississippi State was up, and then I think they just ran away with it. But they're gonna have to get like an upset win here or so in the next month and a half, 2 months, or he's gonna be gone by the Alabama game. I just don't see a scenario where after a loss like that, where it just, it is shaking that program really bad, that loss.
I think they go 1-4 in their next 5.
I agree.
They play Missouri. Oh, go ahead, Wyatt.
I was gonna do the same thing you did. Basically, I was checking their schedule. They may not win but one more game the rest of the season after this week.
So they have Missouri this week. That should be a winnable game for Auburn, right? Like you think like a coin flip game. I'm 100% taking LSU because I think now Jaden Daniels is starting to find his stride. Emory, the running back for LSU, is back. So I think LSU is looking better. Then you go to Georgia, which God help you.
Fat loss there.
Then they go at Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss wins that easy. They get Arkansas, and then they're at Mississippi State, and then they end the season Texas A&M, Western Kentucky, and Alabama.
They might win 2 games left this season.
Auburn, legit, I will take them over Missouri, and I will take them over Western Kentucky. But as of right now, I will not pick them again the rest of the year.
They won't be favored in a game the rest of the year. Maybe Missouri.
So.
Did they get them at home? Missouri at home?
It is at home right now. Currently, Auburn, I believe, is favored by 7. It's a set. Yeah, they're favored by 7.
That'll be the only game they're favored the rest of the year.
They're favored against Western Kentucky probably.
Well, okay. Other than like that, yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm not picking them the rest of the year. I think this team is trending very down. I think, dude, if they make a bowl game, I'll be impressed. This isn't even me being mean. I'm looking at their schedule and I'm looking at what I just saw on the field the last couple of weeks. You almost lose to San Jose State at home and you get embarrassed by Penn State when you're claiming that, hey, we want to build off of last year's Iron Bowl where we almost beat the number 1 team in the country, or number 2 team in the country. I'm sorry. And, we think we can win recruiting again. We think we can do this and that and this and that. And no, this is not good. This is not a good team. Even Auburn fans will tell you this is not a good team. Like right now, I legitimately think, I think they finish the season with 4 wins. 5 if they're lucky.
5 if they're really lucky, I would say. And then, I think if you're asking Auburn fans too, they're probably saying the same thing. They're like, I'll take a bowl this year just to be I think they would say that's a very successful season. But you were talking about them running Brian Harsin off, and if I'm Harsin, I don't even know if I want to be here at this point. I mean, as far as like the support goes and how much support he's received and stuff, but it's a tough road for Auburn right now. I don't see you got to run Tank Bigsby 25, 30 times a game.
Yes.
Just to even have a chance. And God forbid if he gets hurt. I mean,
oh my God, no.
They might lose to Western Kentucky and they might lose to Missouri if he's hurt.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, this is just this is not good. I
wanna pose a question to y'all super quick.
Yeah.
So you're Auburn's AD, although they currently don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
You fire Brian Harsin. You got 3 coaches on your payroll still: Gene Chizik, Gus Malzahn, and Brian Harsin.
Yeah, I can't believe they're still paying.
Who are you calling that would even pick up the
Bill O'Brien?
Would he even pick up the phone?
I don't even know if he would take that job.
I would want him to take that job.
See, here's the thing. Culturally,
no. If I'm Auburn, and this is 100% like authentic too. If I'm Auburn, I am calling Matt Rule in Carolina because I don't think Matt Rule will make it through the season at Carolina. He's 0-2 right now. He's already on the hot seat. He's hell. There's a chance if the Saints blow him out this week, he gets fired in week 3. So I thought Matt Rule was really good at Baylor. I think offensively his scheme works in college. It does not work in the NFL. Like these spread systems do not really work out, especially when you don't have the quarterback for it. So I would call Matt Rule at Carolina. I would 100% call Pete Golding at Bama. 100% would call him. And that that's not a joke. I think Pete Golding, what he's been doing with his defense. I know. Like you're like, you fire him into the sun every week. No dipshit. I'm joking.
Being dramatic. Yeah,
he's a fantastic defense coordinator. Okay, he is. I just think we've been a little undisciplined at times, but I think he's great. And then, man, it's tough, and I hate saying this because I really don't think they will. But if I have nothing to lose at all, if I'm Auburn, I call Urban Meyer. I call Urban Meyer and be like, hey, how much money do you want?
Yeah. They got the money to pay him. I mean, that's for sure.
There will be Auburn boosters who will write checks so fat that it would make you concerned to get Urban Meyer on that team to go up against Nick Saban on a yearly basis, because you are held to that standard now where not only are you going up against Nick Saban every year, you're going up against Kirby Smart every year too, because they're in conference rival, and you need a guy on that level. And look, I think Urban Meyer is a terrible human being, but that dude knows how to coach college football and he can recruit. And I think, I think Urban Meyer is a top 10 all-time college football coach. I really do. He is that good. He has won everywhere he's been. He won at Bowling Green. He won at Utah. He won at Florida, and he won at Ohio State. Did he win with the Jacksonville Jaguars? No, but no one wins with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think you call Urban Meyer, you write him a blank check, because the worst he's going to say is no. But you look at Auburn, dude. Auburn recruits in Georgia, in Alabama, and Tennessee. Urban Meyer knows those areas very well. He gets the most out of his players, and the dude just gets it. He wins games. He puts up numbers. And can you imagine the Iron Bowl every year? Nick Saban versus Urban Meyer. Oh my God.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. Let me ask you this though. Pose this. You bringing up Urban Meyer. What do you think is the better program to go into as a first-year head coach right now, Nebraska or Auburn? I think Nebraska is in the worst state of affairs I've ever seen a football program, but Auburn might be worse.
So here's the thing: if it's Urban, I think Auburn's a better place for him because he's demanded enough respect and coaching wise to win, where it's like, hey, let me do my thing, and I will have this program back in 2 or 3 years. He's done it everywhere he's been. He literally won a national championship his second year at Florida. He went undefeated his He went undefeated his first year at Ohio State, won a national championship his third.
He did.
Uh,
He took Utah undefeated to a BCS game in the Sugar Bowl and won it. or not Sugar Bowl. I'm sorry, Fiesta Bowl back in the day. But when it was weird for non-conference or non-Power 5 teams to make the BCS, he did that. But if you're like, let's just say Pete Golding, for example. Pete Golding gets a call from Nebraska, gets a call from Auburn. If I'm Pete Golding, I'm going to Nebraska all day, because you have less competition in that division, where it's like, hey, you don't have to play. Like you have a little bit easier of a road. Like, I think playing against Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Purdue is a lot easier than playing Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee, and Mississippi State and Ole Miss. I think because you're going to come in, and I don't think you're immediately going to be able to turn it around, but you can build something sooner, I think, at Nebraska, and start building hope and character. But no, if I'm Auburn, man, like, if I'm an Auburn fan, man, just enjoy, just put the remote down, turn it off, and then come back for football season or basketball season. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I because there's not a product. They're not going to be able to put a product on the field that's going to make anybody happy. I mean, even if they hang close in games with LSU, whatever, like, Auburn is not a football program that deals in moral victories. I mean, they're there. Much as I like to, I mean, they've won a championship more recently than most programs out there. So, I mean, they can say that they, are a top program in the country based on that alone. But, man, the state of affairs in that program right now is awful. I mean, it's Auburn, really, really tough.
Auburn was one game away from the college football playoffs in 2017.
Yep.
They were one win away. They beat Georgia and Bama in the same year at home. Didn't just beat them, embarrassed them in back-to-back weeks. And then Kerryon Johnson gets hurt, and then Georgia wins the SEC championship. They have fallen so far. They have not even come close to sniffing the playoffs ever since then. It's just not a good state of affair right now for this Auburn team. I think there's a lot of question marks here. And so the last game I want to talk about before we wrap up the show is, dude, that Florida State Louisville game was awesome. Did you watch it on Friday night?
I did. Oh yeah.
That's a good game, dude. I thought Louisville had these guys dead in the water. Malik Cunningham for Louisville is a one-man team. He is really good. I mean, he had 127 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. I mean, and then he threw for 243. But the story of the game is, so it's 14-14 after the first. Jordan Travis, the quarterback for FSU, he's had a fantastic year so far, gets hurt, and it goes out of the game. And at that point, you're like, crap. This is all right. So this is where it ends, right? So Louisville, they go up 7 at halftime, and you're like, all right, this is kind of like, this is how it's going to be. Florida State answers right back, and then the fourth quarter of this game was just nuts. So it was a 24-point fourth quarter, but Florida State sneaks it out, and they are now 3-0, dude. Like, Florida State is.
When was the last time Florida State was 3-0?
I think 2015, 2016.
Yeah, 17 was when Alabama played them, and I think that was the last time that they were even remotely relevant. So, I mean, fair play. I don't have a lot to comment on this game. It was a lot of fun to watch. I love the fact that a big program like Florida State is playing on like Thursday and Friday, and like, so we actually get some like interesting, fun football on days that we normally wouldn't. So I there's some jokes to be made about Florida State playing on Friday, but I think it's cool that they're playing on Friday. So I appreciate it. And but yeah, no, it's been fun, and like, Florida State being 3-0 is Florida State's one of those programs where like college football is better when they're good. You know what I mean? So I hope, I don't know who's the coach there again.
Mike Norvell.
Yes, that's right. He's a pretty damn good coach, man.
I will give him this. He's exceeded my expectations this year. I had Florida State being a 6-7 win team, and they're already halfway to my prediction.
And they still got to play some lackluster ACC teams, and
so
the way they're playing right now, I like them against Clemson. I like them to keep it close at least.
So listen to this. So they play Boston College this week. in Tallahassee. They play on Saturday, so no more
huge.
games.
Good for them.
I know, but dude, listen to this 3-game stretch, Nick. Wake Forest at NC State, Clemson in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's tough.
They play 3 top 25 teams in 3 weeks. That is brutal. They get 2 of them at home. I will give them that. Wake Forest looked beatable against Liberty this week, and then Clemson. I mean, I think Clemson is just really playing to the level of their competition. I think at NC State's going to be the toughest one of those games because NC State's defense is big time. They are good. Now their offense has been kind of lackluster, which has like been kind of disappointing for me because I expected Devin Leary to kind of step it up, but defensively, NC State is a real deal. So that's what scares me when looking at that schedule. They had like another pick 6. So the score looked a little bit further off than it really did. But man, all I can say is congrats, Florida State.
Is it a happy household for you now that Florida State's 3-0?
My girlfriend, her team is undefeated. My team's undefeated. So we're happy.
Love it. That's good.
You know why?
Why's that?
Because normally when I'm watching these games, man, I'm rocking Christopher Mobley. Go to ChristopherMobley.com and get the best collegiate apparel in the game, anywhere from Alabama, Texas, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, and they're coming out with some new schools. They're actually opening up a new location. Can't wait to see where it's going to be. I have a hunch where it might be, so I'm just going to say that for a later date. Make sure you go to ChristopherMobley.com. Use promo code CRUZ, CRUZ, for 15% off your first order at checkout. It's the best. It's the best clothes in the country, guys. Like, I can't wait to go to Tuscaloosa and spend oodles of money there. But Christopher Mobley, join the mob. I love those guys. So that's going to do it for us this week. We've been going off for a while, but it was a fun week of football. We'll be back later this week to go over week 4 of college football and week 3 of the NFL. You can follow me along at The Real Cruz Ox at Instagram and Twitter. Make sure that you follow Boot Crew Media and the Oxcore podcast on the socials. Been crushing it lately, guys. How can they find you?
Yeah, drop a follow at InPerkins96. Had a really, really good week. A lot of really fun interaction with you guys. A lot of people, actually like be, DMing saying, hey, like, nice pick, jackass, or something like that. if I make a bad pick, like obviously I had a BYU in that game and that one went horribly. So shout out you guys for DMing me, telling me how bad my picks are. So that was really appreciated. But I also want to give a quick shout out to the podcast, to the TikTok account, because we had our most viewed video over the weekend. So really huge, one for that one.
We didn't talk about App State.
You want to quickly talk about App State?
Yes. Oh, okay. Dude, Appalachian State's the most fun team in college football right now. I'm just saying
America's team, dude.
Bro, they are America's college football team right now. I don't care what anyone says. Like, week 1 has an incredible game with UNC. Week 2 goes to Texas A&M and pulls off a huge upset. And then in week 3 to win off a Hail Mary. You kidding me?
Not even just a Hail Mary. It's like a tipped pass, like back to the guy. It was crazy, man. Crazy.
I love Appalachian State. I really do.
I need to buy some merch, man. I need to get some App State merch because I love that team.
App State to the playoffs. App State.
We need to get Mobley to make some App State merch.
I'll get it. I put Appalachian State in my top 25 this week. I put them at 24.
Oh yeah, no, North Carolina, that game, I don't think North Carolina's got that good. I think if they replay that game right now, App State wins by 2 touchdowns. I think App State has gotten better throughout the season. I don't think North Carolina's that good this year. But what an incredible game there. If they're 3-0, they're a top 20 team for sure.
Yeah, they're my 24th team ranked team in the country.
Yeah, no, I mean I like them, but yeah. Anyways, back to it. Oxcord podcast on TikTok. A lot of fun. Making new content every and since Bond's not here, we'll give him a shout out at Bond Snow.
Yeah. Wyatt.
You guys can find me online. Don't even follow me at the Oxcore podcast on Twitter. Still better than Nick Perkins. We hit 4,600 this week.
Nerd.
Thank you guys so much.
Hey, quick question. Who do you guys got for Monday night? I'm going Vikings.
I'm going Titties and Eagles.
Ooh.
I like the upset.
Okay.
Titties and Eagles. Against the spread, definitely give me +10. I think Buffalo actually probably wins that game, but Tennessee.
Oh
keeps
yeah.
it close.
Buffalo all day. Oh yeah. Why? Who you got?
I'm taking Buffalo and Philly.
All right. Well, we love you guys, and we will see you later on this week.